everyone, it's Jennifer from Sparkle Splatter. In this video, I will show you how to make an easy pom-pom with no fancy tools needed. The only thing you'll need are your hands, a pair of scissors, and some yarn. This is a really fast and easy way to make a pom-pom. There are tools on the market that you can use, or you can even make your own with some cardboard or some cardstock. But I'm going to show you a really fast and easy way to do it with just your hands. So let's get started. We're going to begin by cutting a piece of yarn. I'm going to cut about an 8-inch piece of yarn, and then we're just going to set that aside. Then we're going to take our yarn, and in case you're wondering, this is worsted weight acrylic yarn. It's very easily found at the craft store or in the craft aisle. However, you can really use any kind of yarn you like to make pom-poms, and it's definitely fun to experiment with different types of yarn and different thicknesses of yarn for a whole bunch of different pom-pom effects. This is a finished pom-pom with the same type of yarn, just a different color. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold the yarn and let the yarn come down just to make a short little tail. Then you're going to begin by wrapping the yarn around your fingers. Now if you want a really large pom-pom, you can wrap it around all 4 fingers. If you want a smaller pom-pom, you can wrap it around 3 fingers, or for a tiny pom-pom, 2 fingers. I'm going to do mine around 3 fingers just to make sort of a medium-sized pom-pom. And you're just going to wrap the yarn around and around, and you'll need a decent amount of yarn for this. I have a very large skein of yarn here, but we're just going to start wrapping. And I'm going to wrap mine about 75 times around my hand. Now you can wrap yours more times if you want a denser, kind of thicker pom-pom, or if you want sort of a loopy, floppy, wispy looking pom-pom, you can wrap yours less times. It also depends on how much yarn you have. This is a great way to use some extra yarn that you may have on hand. So I'm just going to keep on wrapping, and then we'll rejoin in just a moment and I'll show you how to finish your pom-pom. So I just continued wrapping until I had a nice thick bundle, and you can kind of see it from that angle too. So what you're going to do now is take the other end. Now this was our starting piece that's just still hanging down at the bottom, and then we're going to take the end where we finish and we're just going to cut that just so they're about the same length. This is not an exact science. So you just want to carefully slip the yarn off of your fingers, just making sure that everything comes off nice and neat. You want it to stay in this kind of loopy bundle. And then we're going to slide this yarn that we cut a few minutes ago. We're just going to slide that over, and then just slide this carefully off your fingers and just keep it in the same exact form as it was when it was on your hand. Then you're going to, you can do this in your hand. I usually lay it down on the table, but you can just lay this down, just keeping it exactly the way it was when it was on your hand, and just bring up the 2 pieces of yarn, and then you're just going to tie it, make a little bundle here, and you're just going to tie it. And I would recommend getting this as tight as possible, because that's going to give your pom-pom, make it more durable and stay together. Definitely want this to be as tight as possible. Okay? So once you get that tied, you're going to hold these tails where you just tied in your hand because you don't want to cut those. And then you're going to take a pair of scissors and you're just going to cut all of these loops to start. You're just going to go through and just cut all of these loops. And I would recommend doing this in a place where you're going to have lots of little yarn pieces. So doing this near a trash can is a great idea. Okay, now again, I'm just holding these tails as I cut. I don't want to cut those because later you can use those tails to tie it onto something. If you're making a hat or some kind of garland, you can just tie that right on. Now when you're finished cutting all the loops, your pom-pom, see, just keep looking. You'll maybe find a few more if you keep kind of fluffing it up. So when you're finished, your pom-pom's going to look really messy and kind of wild. So this is when you're going to give it a little trim. So what I like to do is, again, keep these tails down at the bottom. I like to just kind of hold it flat like this and fan it out. And then you can just take your scissors, and some really nice sharp scissors work especially well when you're doing this. So you're just going to hold it like this and just give it a little haircut. If you're doing this project with kids, just make sure that they don't cut their hands. You might want to help for this part. But they can most definitely wrap the yarn around their hands to make the pom-pom. Okay, so we're just going to give our pom-pom a little haircut until we get everything nice and neat. So once you're finished trimming your pom-pom, you'll have a little pile here. Now you can save these if you need some filler to stuff a pillow or a stuffed toy. You can save these for the birds. The birds like little yarn clippings and things like that to make their nests, or you can even make a fun art project out of them. So once you're done cutting it, and you may find a stray long piece here and there, and you can just trim that back. So once you're done, you can do one of two things. You can use these tails to tie onto something like a hat or a scarf or what have you, or you can just cut these off if you need to glue it to something. These have the tails cut off. So either or, and then once you cut those off, you could glue it to something or what have you. So that is how you make an easy pom-pom. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to click the subscribe button to get all the latest Sparkle and Splatter video updates. Thanks again!